Hopefully I do. Anyways, I've dawdled my introduction long enough. Let's get this going. Okay, so this is Equinox, and I have to pause this game because I don't want to get into an encounter. But this game just kind of throws you into the game. They don't really throw any story elements. They put all that into the demos and whatnot. You directly start on the continent of Galadonia, and you will start next to an entrance of one of the dungeons. That's what I'm actually standing beside here. These bridges that you see over to the right side, they lead to other continents, but they're blocked off. So, and they're blocked off by what looks like a cloud with two set of eyes, and they resemble a spirit of some of the bosses you have to kill in order to bypass them. And that's sort of the goal of these games, of this particular game, is you have to kill these bosses. There's really no way around it in order to access them, at least until the game gets more broken, which we don't know if that's ever going to happen. So we're kind of stranded on this continent here, which is Galadonia. And it kind of looks like a barren sort of land full of, I guess, farmland. It really does look like that, but it's pretty empty right now, and so really the only thing we have access to is the dungeon itself. Now, Galadonia, it has 3 points of access, and they're all like this dungeon is all connected as one. But in the case of Galadonia, they're sort of not connected. They are connected, but they're not connected. It's hard to explain. It's something that I could probably better explain once I get started here. So this game conveniently actually starts you right where you want to go. The other 2 points, they have obstacles that you just cannot get past. They will either require a knife or they'll require a key. So the only one we can really start with is this point right here. So we're just going to do that. Now, to start things off, there are 4 doors we can go through. This is the main lobby of the first part, and it doesn't really matter what order you do them in, but we are actually going to... Okay, wow, I'm surprised I didn't die there. We're actually going to start with this door here, and that's because this room is significantly harder than the others. It's better to just get it out of the way, and it also contains the first weapon we need to grab. So we're going to get that. Alright, so here's one little bit of trick that you probably weren't able to recognize. When you reach the border of a room, or you touch the doorway and then jump at the same frame, you're able to quickly do a very, very quick jump. Okay, so it's kind of hard to explain, but when you normally enter a room, you have a sort of little bit of a delay on being able to do certain inputs. Like, you're not able to pop magic for I guess it's like for like half a second to a second. And yeah, like, you can't pop magic, you can't jump, you can't fire your weapons. Well, actually, I don't know about the weapon thing, but you can't pop magic and you can't jump. But if you press one of your action buttons on the same frame you begin entering a new room, you're able to execute that action on the literal first frame of the next room. And that's what you saw right there. And it's not faster to do this room with it, but it's much easier to have a cleaner room here with this room. So I'm gonna grab that knife here. Now, there are all sorts of ways we can do this particular room. This room's a bit of a challenge because these green ghosts move in such a manner. They just move back and forth. And I find that the fastest way is to kill that lower ghost down there. Because what ends up happening is, once I grab this knife, I'm going to end up heading back. And then you see he's kind of like right there. So like he's right for the picking. So I'm just going to pepper him up a little bit. Okay, that wasn't very good, but normally I'm able to get like a good 4 hits on him. And then I'll turn around the corner. And you see I killed that ghost right there. Actually, let me just back this webcam up just a little bit. But I was able to kill that ghost, and you could see the other ghost up at the top there. He's literally right there as I turn around the corner. And that allows me to unload on him. That wasn't a very good round, but... and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show this room optimally, but... Normally, I'll grab that knife, I'll end up falling down, throw 4 hits on the lower ghost, turn around the corner, throw a single knife and finish him off, then quickly turn around the corner and unload on this ghost and hopefully land 3 hits. I don't like to be in a situation where I only hit him twice. That's actually pretty slow. But if I only get 3 hits on him, usually I'm going to just do the shuffle like that. And that allows, and the thing is with the weapons, when you throw and you're moving towards a direction and you throw a weapon, its traveling speed increases. So optimizing that allows for quicker kills with the weapon. Yeah. This room's pretty complex. It's not... it's definitely a room that's probably going to take quite a bit of practice to do, but I feel that's the right way to do that room. I mean, other runners have done it differently. I choose to do it that way. And again, you don't need to do the frame-perfect jump thing into that room. I just do it because it's easier. It's a little easier to get an optimal room. But I have gotten pretty optimal rooms without it. So moving on, these next few rooms, they don't really matter. Like, these are very simple. You grab the orb, you're bypassing you're just making sure you don't get hit by anything. So dying in this game actually is kind of interesting. In fact, let me just die on purpose. So notice the life bar down there. I have 2 full circles. Now I'm at a full circle and half a circle. So every time you die, you lose about half a circle. And once you're out of circles, you have one last chance to make to successfully clear the room without dying. If you run out of circles to play with, you're it's game over and you start from the last point you actually saved, which is usually going to be quite costly. It will usually be quite costly. Sometimes it's not so costly. Like if we game over now, it wouldn't cost us too much time. But generally, not a good thing to have happen to you at any point in the run. It's especially the case being in Ghost Ship and in Ice Palace. Okay, so you can see here there's something over on the other side. This is what we mean when this is what I mean when I say that the dungeon's connected, but it's not really connected. Like they have these barriers kind of holding you off from going to other parts of the dungeon. We'll see that again over on this other side here. So we've covered 3 of the rooms now, and now all we have left to do is this section up here. Now, this room can be a little bit interesting. I'm going to jump up here and try to land without crossing that yellow brick boulder there. And this is kind of something that requires muscle memory. It's kind of difficult to start doing it the first few times, but you'll kind of develop it as you go. To know how far you can go, yeah, you can... Okay, so in order to actually get hit by this ghost, and this isn't consistent with all ghosts, but this particular ghost, you won't get hit by it as long as Glendel's shadow and the ghost shadow are not touching. So let me see if I can just nudge my way through. I'm going to see. I'm probably going to get hit here. Wow. Okay, like, look how close that shadow and his shadow is. Like, I think I move one more frame over, I'm gonna get killed here. So let's just do that. Oop. Yeah, see? So that's kind of how the hitbox of this ghost works. But if you want a good visual indication of where to stand, know how far you can stand, this yellow brick here, or this tile line here, let's just say it's the yellow tile line. That's how far you can go. So it's pretty simple. I mean, getting up here shouldn't really cause too much issues. Again, it's just a matter of practice. But I mean, if you are worried about the ghost touching you, don't worry. It's actually pretty generous. It's actually pretty generous getting up here. It's a lot easier than a lot of the other things that you can have happen, or a lot of other rooms in particular in this dungeon are quite a bit trickier. So here's another spot. On this other side here is an orb. Okay, so these purple orbs, they're integral to actually complete a dungeon. You need them in order to summon the boss at the end. You cannot skip this. You have to kill the bosses. That's the entire point of the game. Collect the 12 orbs, summon the boss, kill the boss, move on to the next dungeon. That's essentially how the game is. That's how it's been programmed to be. So you probably can see this orb over here. Clearly we have to get to it, but can't jump over the spikes. So they intentionally make it so that you can't cross this border. I'm even gonna try to item jump over it. And I actually even jumped. You actually saw me jump off of it, but I still got hit by it, so... Yeah, like, in all honesty, you cannot cross this. You cannot cross this. And that's the thing. Like, these... You can't item jump over spikes. There are some exceptions where you can. We will cover that, though, when we get to that point. So, in all honesty, we're just going to grab this... wow. We're just going to move on. We're just going to get the orb, move on, because we're done with this area now. And, okay, so what you saw there was the... yeah. Every time you leave the dungeon, the game automatically saves. And I think that also applies for every time you drop down into a new part of the dungeon. I think it saves there as well. There's also a save spell you can get. That's not going to be till much later in the game. So, okay, well, I didn't do that optimally, but that's... One thing you have to know, one thing of note, the shoulder buttons are what changes the perspective here. So, I mean, in case you didn't know, that's how I do that. So, now we're coming up to one of the hardest part of Galadonia, which is this next room here. These ghosts, you don't have to worry about them. Just run past them, easy every time. Now, this room... This is the room that requires you to get a knife. You need to kill at least one of these ghosts to get past this line here. You can see how they're bouncing around. There's no way you can get past this now without a weapon of some sort. Oh yeah, and they have a blue ghost just to make life a little bit more stressful. And there's an orb right up there. I'm actually gonna grab this apple over here first, because I'm actually kind of low on life. And I want to be able to actually finish this dungeon without too many issues. So what we do with this room, when we first enter it, is we go after this orb up here. We grab it, and then we try to at least finish off one of the ghosts and just sneak right past them without getting tagged by these other two ghosts over here. So this one down here is the one we go for. It's just the easiest one to get set up to actually quickly do this room. Now, usually to make matters even more difficult, you have to be able... You can't kill that ghost too fast. Otherwise, that ghost in the middle will bounce in a weird way, and he will just completely block you off. Like, you are forced to go slow in that room if that happens. And usually if it happens, it's too late to react to it, and you're just going to die. So, it's definitely... So what we do is, we do that. I begin by moving down to where the smaller ghost, or the bottom ghost is. I throw 2 knives at him. And then I continue on my merry way to this orb here, and I try to cut the... I kind of walk really close to these tiles here, because that optimizes my movement. And, I mean, you can't totally optimize your movement too much. Otherwise, again, the middle ghost will bounce in a weird way. So, unfortunately, it's hard for me to sort of teach this, how to do this properly. It really just comes down to, doing what's comfortable for you. Because, I mean, having to describe, like, okay, you got to optimize your movement, but not quite optimize your movement. You can see how that really sounds confusing. So, I mean, it's really a matter of you gotta play test and feel it out. Usually I like to have my moment of not optimizing my movement during these steps up here to get to the orb. That's usually how I do it, and it's probably worked out the best for me. Okay, so here's the tough part. Let's see if we get it. Oh, okay, well, we already messed up because we didn't grab the orb. So, I'm going to die again. I'm going to try that again. I probably could have just went back into the room, but whatever. It's much easier for me to do when I don't have to pause it. Alright, let's see if we get it this time. Yep, see? So, they bounced in a weird way. I don't feel like that was... maybe I might have been a little too late on that one. Okay, this time I feel pretty good about this. I waited. I did not wait long enough. Did not wait long enough. I knew that for a fact. I didn't wait long enough. Let's see if we get it this time. Yep. Okay. We're kind of struggling with this. Damn. Well, I guess I can always show how to do it safely. If you do feel like you're killing him too fast, or you see the weird bounce of the ghost, you can always stop and play it safe and just make sure to kill the second ghost, the middle ghost, and just wait and just move on. I'm gonna take this apple for safety precautions. We have to go through that line of ghosts because here we get a white key. And we need that for the last part of Galadonia. Now, one key thing about this room. If you don't clear all the enemies and grab all the items, all enemies will respawn in that room. So, those 2 green ghosts we killed, they've respawned. Unfortunately. Now, the good news is, getting past this line of ghosts is actually pretty easy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a dagger, and then right when I cross that border tile line that the edge of my shadow is touching, the back end, once I am in the middle of that, I shoot my 5th and final one at that point. And that will kill this ghost, and I should be able to walk right through, no problems. Just like that. So that's how easy that part is. Like, the hardest part is getting through all this stuff and getting past this point here. It's a very common reset point for me. I suggest for newer players, though, not to do that strat. It's better to just try to do it slow, and then once you feel confident enough in actually doing the runs, or doing runs, or, wow, starting off this game, I do not like this guy's pathing structure at all. once you get confident enough in doing Galadonia consistently, then you can start trying to get through this line of ghosts by just killing one of them. But otherwise, I would probably just suggest doing it slow. Wow. Okay. Okay, well, we'll just go through this again. Alright, let's get out of here. That was not very smart on my part. But that's really all you have to do. You just got to grab the... All you have to do is grab that orb and then that white key. And that's literally the second part of Galadonia. So this so now we're gonna walk down. Okay, so actually I should probably show that. So those wells, they hold bats, and these clouds here, they will drop an ogre. They're actually not doing anything right now, so we're just gonna carry on. I've once had them spawn really fast. All right, so this is the last lobby. You'll notice this door over here. You can't unlock that unless you kill all these ghosts. It contains the heal spell. We don't need the heal spell. It's actually a big waste of time to get it. Instead, we're going to go in here, and yeah, you probably recognize this room. That's how we access it. That's why I say everything's connected, but it's not really connected. You can't really access it. But you just need to go in there, grab the orb, and then you're going to move on here to this room. Now, here's another room they designed to be able to deal with by getting a knife. We have to kill... The normal approach is to kill these ghosts. Like, that's how the designers designed this room. But if you get right to this borderline here, like right here, you're able to walk along it, and then you don't even run into the spikes. So all you have to do is jump, and that's how easy it is. You can easily bypass these guys. It's actually pretty consistent. So if you just use that tile and just walk along it and then jump when you're about to approach the spikes, you'll make this probably 9 times out of 10. So that's the easy part. Now, I now have all the 12 tokens that I need to summon the boss. Now the hard part of this dungeon. We are going to jump this gap. And it's almost frame perfect. It might even be frame perfect. You can do this the slow way. You can do this the fast way. This is the second hardest room in Galadonia. I do it the fast way, but let's demonstrate the slow part. So, we gotta try and... Yeah. So I wandered a little too far there. So I'm probably gonna game over here now. And you can see how every time you die, you have to recollect these tokens. So let's see if we can do this again. I don't like that. I don't like that either. Okay, yeah, there we go. So there's that noticeable gap right there. That's what you got to look for when doing it the slow way. Now we're going to jump. And we made it. Now, that's how you do it slow. And you can imagine, that it probably is much more consistent to do it slow. For me, though, it's much, much faster to do it the fast way. Wow, that was a terrible jump. I actually do it the faster way because I'm actually about as consistent with it as I am doing it the slow way. But what I do to do it the fast way is I get right up against this wall, and then as I'm walking off, I'm paying attention to the back part of that shadow, like the very border of the shadow behind Glendale. That's what I pay attention to. And what I'm looking for as I'm running is any sort of visible gap between this border of this platform right here and the back of the shadow here. So let's see if we can get it. Ah, I was too late. So let's try again. I got one more shot. I'll game over if I mess this up. Ah, too early. But that's okay. This is one of those times where a game over wouldn't be too costly. At least especially for newer runners. So all we just have to do is grab that again, and now we're going to try again. I'm going to take what we've learned. Yeah. I know, it's dicey. And I do tend to die on that jump a lot, doing it the fast way. But I think at least how I do it fast is I just look for that visible gap between the border of that top platform there and the back of that shadow. If once I see that visible gap, that's when I jump, and usually I make it. Sometimes I jump too early. Sometimes. It's not often I die by jumping too late. Anyway, now that we're done with that room, we have one more room. Here, this key here. Alright, so here's another locked door. Much like this one. But the difference is one of them's flashing and the other one's not. The flashing one, as I've indicated before, you have to clear out all the items, all the enemies in order to unlock it. But with this door, you just need a key. And we have that. We got that from the second area. So we're going to go in here. And this is the last room before the boss. Alright, so this is a pretty technical room. These three ghosts are going to be chasing behind me the entire length until I reach that inner corner there. Just a little behind that third ghost in the back there. How should I describe this? I am not very good at killing these ghosts if it's not on this first quarter here that I'm on. You're going to notice me shifting back and forth. And it's going to be hard to kind of describe it, but I'm going to try to keep walking away from these ghosts while trying to quickly face towards them and shoot a knife. You have to remember, the knife I can only shoot one at a time, so I have to really optimize my knife throws here. And I'm going to be just constantly shuffling back and forth in my movement in order to kill these guys, especially since I cannot kill them down that second corridor worth a damn. So let's see if we mess this up as badly as we messed some of these other rooms up. Oh, okay, so I whiffed once. You probably heard that little whiff. But yeah, that's how you do it. You really have to shuffle back and forth. It takes quite a bit of practice, and I still tend to struggle with it sometimes. I have died in this room more than I actually would like to admit. Generally, I tend to fail this room when I'm forced into this corner and have to start killing them from this direction. Because for me to optimally do this room, I have to switch the controller and start using my thumbs to sort of shuffle up and down. And usually I end up tapping left or right and walking into a spike. It's generally not... It has not ended well for me when it gets to this point here. So I always make it a habit to make sure that if I kill these three ghosts and open the unlocked door over on this side here, I want to make sure I kill them before I reach this corner here. It works out better for me. You might be able to get away with trying to kill them over here, but I mean it hasn't worked out for me, so I just opt not to do it. Now, and so once again, you see this flashing door. That's why we have to kill those ghosts. We cannot get through this door unless we kill them. So it's not good enough to just avoid them. We actually have to kill them. And that's the dungeon in a nutshell. It's actually very short, very simple. So, this is the boss room. And this is why we need these 12 orbs. It's to activate this summon here. Now, once the summoning process starts going, we want to try to position right about here. And then we want to try to get that one knife throw and get a quick shot on Bonehead. This will allow us for an optimal kill. We didn't get it because I forgot the timing because I paused. But Bonehead's pattern's pretty simple, and he's a very quick fight. Let me just see here. I'm just going to review my notes, what I have here about this boss. Let's see, where's my notes here? Okay. So what Bonehead's gonna do? He's gonna spawn, and then he's gonna start moving to the right, and the entire strat that I'm going to be utilizing here is to just stay in front of him. The problem with Glendale as a character is he's extremely slow, and pretty much most, if not all, bosses are faster than him. You have to anticipate the movement patterns of these bosses. There's no two ways around it. You have to understand how they move, you just got to stay ahead of the pattern. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself chasing them down and not going to be able to get a hit on them. So, I'm going to try and stay ahead. Alright, so once he reaches the right side there, I want to get... You can actually go towards that other corner there, and as long as you're pushing up against the wall, he won't actually hit you. Because what he's going to do is he's going to bull charge that other corner wall there. I opt to not do that because I want to optimize my hits. And standing up against the wall and pushing now actually lines me up perfectly to hit that his right eye. His right eye, which would be the eye on the left side. So there you go. That's the proof you need right there. You're able to hit him from here, and you're completely safe here. So he's gonna bull charge it. I think it was like 3 times. I think it was 3 times, and then he was gonna start moving to the left, back to the position he spawned at. So once again, we want to stay ahead of the pattern here. And he's going to stop. And then his next move is going to be going in a diamond formation around the room. And hopefully, I think we're down to only one more hit. Nope. Okay. Well, we finished him off here. But that's all he has to do. If he does go make a full run around the room, he's going to stop at the top here, and then he's going to move down here, and then he's going to become invincible, and then throw out 2 green ghosts. If this happens, it's a reset. Like, you are going to waste way too much time dealing with the green ghosts, because you got to kill them both, or he will not come out of invincibility. And then he sort of changes his pattern. I think he then moves to the left, and then he starts bull charging the other corner of the bottom corner there. Anyway, that's the Bonehead fight in a nutshell. So, one little thing, you can see that my health and my magic went up a full circle point. This is also pretty important to the route. Every time you get a magic spell, you'll gain another point of magic to work with. The only way to increase life is by getting into a fight with an ogre in the overworld, but their health goes up gradually, so as you can imagine, it's just a huge waste of time. You don't need all that life. Your health is going to be so high that you should never worry about getting a game over, like ever. The only time a game over is in risk of happening is in the early game, when your health pool is pretty low. Also, you'll notice the that message at the end, at the bottom there, is talking about a new string for your harp. And there is so if you press Y in the overworld, you're able to perform a song, and you can see that you only have one string, so that you don't really have much of a harp. There are 5 strings you got to collect, and you get them from each of the first 5 bosses. Why you need them, we will cover that in a later part of this tutorial. For now, though, I'm going to move on. Actually, showcase one thing before I move on to Tori. So here are these guys. So this is why we need to kill these bosses. They, I'm actually going to shoot a weapon. You can see the, there's this enemy here. You can't get past them. If you try, you will die. I haven't been able to find a way to skip them. I guess eventually, maybe eventually there will be such an instance where that will happen. There used to be one of those over here, but that was the spirit of Bonehead, and we killed Bonehead. So now we have free access to a new continent, which is Tori. So that covers Galadonia. Now